Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy, Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I'm joined by your boy, oh no, it's the Popo.
Oh no, it's the crypto coming in hot.
There it is. Hey, if y'all didn't know, I'm over here trying to sell my boy AJ on joining this crypto gang. If y'all listen to me, I'm not a financial advisor. Let me lay that out there.
Oh,
but
yeah. Sue Ryan when you lose your house.
But if y'all ever want to come visit me on my house on my hill, just know it's all because of crypto. Me and Billy about to be neighbors. Actually, if I do become a millionaire for crypto, I really am going to owe Billy, because we left my studio approximately 6 months ago, and Billy was like, you should check out this crypto. It's called Ethereum. And that day I almost went home and got divorced, even though in the last episode we talked about not getting divorced, because I almost dumped my whole life savings into it and it crashed almost immediately. But it was a good lesson I learned, and I bounced back.
You know, one of my favorite phrases is, what'd you learn?
I bounced back. So,
hey, Billy, I see how. Okay, so don't take financial advice from Billy.
Oh, man. So we're also joined by the Savage himself. He's here in the building, and I'm just seeing that the Monday Night Football is going on right now. This is the first time we've ever recorded in a football game. So don't mind me if I look at my fantasy scores, because we got to win that too.
Oh, y'all got whipped on, bro. I'm done.
Bruh, it's been a rough one. But anyway, so with that being said, it's been a good day. Your boy shot 80 on the golf course, feeling himself like young Tiger Woods. And
you're a real life golfer, man.
I don't play, bro.
How many times a month you go golfing?
Hey, don't worry about that.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually, so honestly, I was going about 4 to 5 times a month. When my father-in-law was still here and thriving. Yeah. But with the recent passing of him, I've scaled it down a little bit. So, but yeah.
Okay. So you do, like, and I don't know if these are like personal questions or not, because I don't golf, but like, are you a member of a golf club?
Nah, that's on bucket list. My bucket list is be a member on a golf course, because it's pretty pricey. But when crypto takes off, I will be a member on the golf course.
You go on a golf course.
And we have it recorded. He said he owes me if crypto takes off. So everyone just remember that.
He did say that.
I owed him a penny.
Oh,
penny.
I'll cut that part out.
He said he was gonna buy me a house. So.
Oh man.
And I got to interrupt to read from our new sponsor. We are here for a better tomorrow. Pfizer. All right, everyone. All right, back to the podcast.
Everybody just deletes.
Oh man, they're like, next. You know what? I really believe in this vaccine. I'm done with you guys. I'm just playing.
I should have left this podcast to be.
Oh man, but anyways, guys.
What's up, fellas? What's up? How's Cali? I feel like I ain't caught up about Cali in a while.
It's a cloudy day.
How are things out there?
It was a beautiful day today. Actually,
loved it.
It was a beautiful day.
Is the governor still tripping out there?
Let's not get going
I don't know
on.
what he's doing, but he's still in office.
I don't know. He's not as vocal as he was prior to the recall election.
Busy slicking his hair back or something. I don't know.
Maybe, but since we're talking about politics, I got to bring this up, bro. Bro, why, man? We have a president right now that is going through a medical emergency before all of our eyes, bro.
Wait, which?
What happened? Like he's like Biden.
Like his mind, you mean?
Bro, like he's like legitimately like has all the like the showings of somebody that's going through dementia or Alzheimer's, bro. Like, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a video of him falling asleep.
I seen that today, and then I seen a picture of him holding like the cards with like the pictures on them to like say who's who.
Yeah. Bro, my thing is like, whether you're left or right, this ain't no, like I told you, I always give y'all that caveat, but this is the best we have to offer. Yeah, this is the best we have to offer. What's supposed to be a very strong country, this is the best we have to offer.
Yeah.
I don't get that. And then, okay, now y'all about to get me going. So
I think we need to get Billy in office.
You know, I agree.
People will vote for Billy.
Billy for president.
Nobody knows.
They voted for Billy before they voted for us for the ugly T-shirt
Christmas.
contest.
Yeah, ugly
3
Christmas.
years later, you guys still.
Yeah, that's coming back. That's coming up again soon.
Yeah, we could do another ugly sweater contest.
No, look, now you excited? Yeah, we could do another one of those guys.
Yeah,
I bet we can.
We'll do mail-in ballots for the voting and everything. It'll be
cool. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we gotta do early ballots for me.
Oh man. Well, that being said, guys, there's been a lot of things coming through the headlines. I don't know. I just saw something today in New York City. They are getting ready, or as of today, I think 9,000 employees, law enforcement, fire, and a whole bunch of other people have officially been put on leave because they refused to accept the shot. In other news, Seattle Police Department is offering a $25,000 signing bonus to anybody who's willing to become a police officer.
In Seattle?
Yep, but you know what it is. But you have to realize,
Seattle.
Yeah, it won. Bro, Seattle was a beautiful place until politics took over. But needless to say, you know they're hurting desperately when you have to offer $25,000 to sign as a police officer. But the caveat, which they probably won't mention, is you probably have to show records that you've received your vaccination in order to get that job. Because the reason why they put that $25,000 out there is because a lot of people left because they didn't get the jab. So that's a caveat. I know that to be factual from the standpoint that I was in Washington a few weeks ago or about a month ago, and they were saying that new applicants have to show proof that they've been vaccinated in order to even get their background or their application through the process.
Dang.
So
that's crazy.
That's current events.
They giving us $500.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I got about 4-5 shots the other day. I was like, bah, bah, bah. I need to buy this crypto.
Man.
Everybody keeps telling me about.
I'm telling you. And in other current events, Colin Kaepernick is at it again. So we will talk about that because, we got a lot to talk about today. We will try to make this as brief as we can, but I definitely want to talk about some of those issues. So let's first and foremost start with New York City. What are your guys' opinions about them losing? I think it was 9,000 employees.
9,000. It says it's 6% of their workforce.
So 6%. That's crazy. That's
not just law enforcement, but their entire workforce.
Yeah, including police officers, firefighters, municipal workers. Yeah, so a wide variety.
So this is what I don't understand is
yikes.
A lot of these people, many of which are first responders or medical personnel, worked through the pandemic before there was even a vaccine available. So in a sense, made sacrifices, putting them, still showing up to work, knowing that there's, this deadly disease or whatever you want to call COVID that can kill you, still showed up to work every single day behind enemy lines and did the work that a lot of people didn't want to do. But now because they refuse to get vaccinated, now we're going to force them out of their job. In some cases, take away their retirement, or at least try to take away their retirement because they refuse to get a vaccine, which essentially is there's no guarantee that is going to prevent them from getting COVID or passing COVID on to somebody else, or there's no guarantee that is going to prevent them from losing their life. And mind you, this is coming from somebody who has been personally affected by COVID in my own life. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm not just saying this as somebody that's callous or doesn't understand or is not empathizing. But what I am saying is what I don't understand is we are making, prior to the pandemic, it was already hard to recruit in law enforcement in certain areas. And so now we are making it even harder because we want to remove the choice from people of whether or not they want to get vaccinated or not. So I don't understand that logic, and it really upsets me because these are the same people that were showing up to work day in, day out when there was no vaccine.
I also think people need to understand that cities can't cities across the nation have already been understaffed and overworked, right? So OT's already been at an all-time high, and I'm not even talking law enforcement. I'm talking city personnel, period, right? Street sweepers, sanitation, mechanics, street repair, you name it. The city employees in general, especially major cities, are understaffed as is. So now you take a place like New York and take away 6% of the city personnel. How do you expect a city like that to successfully function?
I don't get it. I don't understand it. Did you see some of the headlines that came out too? Like a 7-year-old died in a burning building or a burning house. Somebody else died because the response wasn't fast enough, and somebody needed. Bro, people are suffering. People are suffering outside. And so here's the other logic behind it is how many other people are going to lose their life because of the lack of emergency response that they needed. Will that number surpass the amount of people that are actually dying from COVID-19? Or if you took Chicago,
this is what happened, and I only say this because we've seen the opposite happen. So when there was a major spike in crime, it was originally blamed for the police, right? Like, oh, it's the police fault. There's distrust between the police. So now what's going to happen is it's going to reverse, and they're going to be like, oh, well, it's the virus's fault. This is why people are acting up, blah, blah. And it's just going to keep going back and forth. Like, oh, it's the distrust between the police, or, oh, well, now it's the virus. People don't have jobs. And it's like, nah, that's not what it is.
Exactly.
Like, it's the lack of police, and the fact that like police and first responders don't want to be like proactive and go out here and go above and beyond for their job because of how we are and were treated.
Yeah. And
so like we won't even be able to put a number on that.
No. And that's all. Like I said before, like, I'm not putting my faith in the vaccine. I put my faith, one, in God, but two is like, at what point are we going to wake up and realize, like, it's not about the vaccine? I'm not an anti-vaxxer, so I want y'all to take this, and I've said this many times before, and I've also taken criticism for saying what I'm about to say. But at the same time, we need to open our eyes. There's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that are really killing people, and we're making making matters worse. And this goes deeper than getting a vaccine. It goes like when you're forcing people to make choices. Oh man, there was something. Oh man, I think I saved it. I'm gonna put this up. I want to read it real quick. Go ahead, babe.
I was just talking to my coworker about this, and she asked me. She's like, this just today. She's like, can I ask you a personal question? And I was like, sure. She's like, are you vaccinated? And I was like, kind of like close by what she said. And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, oh, I'm just curious. And I told her my reason. I'm like, oh yeah, I got vaccinated. I have an elderly mother who has some health issues, and the in-laws are elderly, and that was like our main reason behind getting it. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, are you? And she's like, nah. And then we just had this whole conversation about it. But the cool thing is I didn't look at her any different because she don't have it.
I love it.
She didn't look at me any different because I have it. And we were able to have a civil conversation without arguing and like me forcing my views down her throat or vice versa.
And that's what it should be. And that's exactly what it should be. We shouldn't have to be divided. And since this is a podcast designed to bridge the gap, we shouldn't be divided based off of whether or not you have a vaccine or not. So I read something the other day, and this was actually kind of crazy. It says, those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat itself. And this is Winston Churchill said that. So this was actually a quote from the Hungarian Jew from the documentary. Quote from a Hungarian Jew from the documentary The Last Days. So I guess there is a documentary called The Last Days. And this is from a Jew. People wonder, how is it that we didn't do something? We didn't run away. We didn't hide. Well, things didn't happen at once. Things happened very slowly. So each time a new law came out or a new restriction, we said, well, it's just another thing. It will blow over. When we had to wear the yellow star to be outside, we started to worry. And so my point is,
that's deep.
Things don't just happen overnight. So the fight is not about a vaccine, if you ask me. It's about your rights. It's about this country, our soldiers that fought for freedom. It's about the ability to go out there and be free and say what you want. Think about, it gets me so upset. How much times have we heard people be canceled because of something they said? Let me tell you, if somebody says something racist to me right now, I would just be like, I'm not like, whatever, bro, to each his own. I'm not messing with you. We don't have to talk. You do what you do. But I'm not going to go out there and say, counsel him and everybody else like him because it's wrong. Because I realize that how many people right now can come out and say that I'm wrong for voicing my opinions about who Jesus Christ is. The moment somebody says, we think Christianity is a hate group, is a terrorist group, and now we're going to stop you from saying anything like it because we feel that way, then now we lost the freedoms that we once had. And so that's why I say, like, if somebody, that's what I believe in, but everybody's capable of believing whatever they can believe in Allah, they can believe in Buddha, they can believe in whatever they want to, because that's the country we live in. But when you start taking these freedoms away, these luxuries away, and you start forcing people to make decisions because this is what you think, we're in a dangerous place. Like, it'd be different if somebody came out and said the vaccine will prevent you from giving it to other people. Then I would say, okay, there's probably some rightful arguments to it. There's some rightful arguments, because if I get the vaccine and it's legitimately going to save another person, then I would say, you know what, you're right. Maybe I should go out and get the vaccine so I don't give it to another person. But studies have shown, you can look up on CDC website, whatever it is, if I get the vaccine, I can still give COVID to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So
they say if you put a frog in cold water
and turn up the heat.
Or I'm sorry, if you try to dip a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out. But if you put a frog in cold water and slowly turn the temperature up, it'll sit there and die.
Yeah.
And it's the same logic, same principle.
Same logic. So anyways, I'm going to transition.
Scary.
It is scary, but I'm going to transition because this is not a COVID podcast or a vaccine podcast. But I wanted to bring it up in current event because sadly, because of vaccines and COVID-19, law enforcement is being affected by it. And when law enforcement is affected by it, you are also in turn being affected by it. I want to transition over to something else. Another current event is Colin Kaepernick. I don't know if you guys saw recently, but Colin Kaepernick came out with this whole docuseries on Netflix that is basically saying that the NFL is like slavery and it's wrong.
No.
And you didn't see that?
Nah.
Bro.
So once again, my coworker had mentioned something about Colin Kaepernick this morning. I was just kind of like, that's odd. Like, why would you bring him up? I ain't heard about him in a while. And then I seen the video that was in the group chat today, but I didn't know it was a whole documentary.
Bro, there's another video I saw. It actually kind of infuriated me because it shows slavery and how, and like when masters were picking slaves, they were saying he was saying it's very consistent with how these GMs and scouts and stuff pick their players for their team. And it literally shows like slaves being beaten or doing tryouts to see how strong they are, and then it goes and shows another clip of athletes showing how strong and fast they are, and then it shows them walking a line. It shows the slaves transition as they're walking to the next thing, and then it goes into them being NFL players. And I'm getting angry because I'm like, first of all, if our ancestors were here and watched this video, would they agree with you?
Right.
I have a hard time saying that they would agree with you for multiple reasons, for numerous reasons. Let's start with the fact of when you're at the NFL Combine, you're not getting beat with a whip, and they're not telling you to jump as high as you can and as fast as you can. Mm-hmm. When you're at the NFL Combine, you're being incentivized because if you make a team, it can change your whole family's life. So let's start with that. Yeah. Secondly, I'm sure that if you go back into slavery days, I'm sure you didn't see some of your white counterparts not getting beat because they weren't doing the same thing. Whereas if you look now, you have some of your white counterparts that are doing the same exact activities that you're doing in order to make the same team. And quite frankly, you're more likely to make the team as a black guy than a white guy in the NFL. Straight up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So let's go there. So let's talk about that part. And then the other thing is regardless of how you want to see it or think about it, and we'll probably get canceled, they'll probably cancel our podcast after this, but the reality is that the NFL, along with other professional sports, have changed the lives of so many minorities around this country and world because it's given them the opportunity to make not only a nice substantial amount of money, but it's allowed them to, it's put them at the same decision-making tables that other people wouldn't be privy to simply because they don't have the funds that would put them in the room. And so when you want to compare it to slavery, did your ancestors ever have the opportunity to sit at the same table as the master that night after they did the activities? No. And then you want to go and criticize and say that the NFL is like slavery, but yet just a month ago you said you're still training very, very hard to make an NFL team. So if you thought it was that bad, why would you still be trying to train to make it into the very entity that you're calling slave?
So 3 things. First thing, you have an option. If you don't want to play football, you don't got to play football. Guess what our ancestors did not have? An option. 2 things. They're getting paid a lot of money. Guess what our ancestors did not do? They did not get paid a lot of money. Third thing, people who have this mindset are unhappy no matter what the circumstance is. If baseball was the only professional sport, a majority white sport, that same person would be upset. Why? Oh, well, we ain't getting paid. You know, they ain't got that many brothers on the field. Where the black people at? We ain't getting paid. So now you got a sport that's predominantly African-American minority that's getting paid millions. Oh, they treat us like slaves, man. We signed a contract and we ain't getting paid. Like you're not happy, bro. Like, no. Like I've said this from the jump, like there's racism. So before I say this, I don't want anyone to get me wrong. Like there's racism I've personally experienced, but miss me with using that as an excuse and or a crutch. Miss me with that. I don't want your handouts. I don't want your sympathy. If I have to work twice as hard to get half the recognition or half the income, I'm going to do that because I want every single thing that I have to be earned. Now, will I think that that's right? Absolutely not. Will I fight to change that? Yes. But don't give me no hands out. Don't give me no sympathy. And there's so many people who have never truly experienced racism that throw that card out every single chance they get. Oh, I'm not on a team because they're racist. Oh, you pulled me over because I'm racist. Oh, this happened to me because of racist. If you're constantly throwing that card out, I hate to say it, but maybe you are the problem here. Like if there's so many things that are constantly happening to you, maybe you are the issue here. And once again, racism exists. I've been profiled.
Yeah.
I had a white police officer stop my car and give me a ticket. But before giving me a ticket, my white friend was in the passenger seat. I was driving. He did a passenger side approach, looked at my passenger and said, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" My passenger was like, "Oh, I'm doing fine, sir." He looked at me and goes, "Hey, what's up, bro? Why you speeding?" And I'm like, bro, what? This is weird. Came back with a ticket, searched my entire car, right? Like I've experienced it firsthand growing up, but I'm not going to let that deter me. If anything, I'm going to use that as motivation to be the most successful version that I can.
Yep. And here's this is what I want to expound upon. You know, so if you're tuning into this and saying, how does this relate to law enforcement? This is how it relates to law enforcement, because the same narrative that he's pushing through this NFL stuff is the same narrative that people try to push over law enforcement. That law enforcement is this racist entity, that these cops are out there to get you, that they are going to do all these racist things to you because it's law enforcement. When the factuality behind it is that, are there racist people in law enforcement, or have there been racist people in law enforcement in the past? Yes. Is the system of law enforcement racist? No, because if it is, then that means that me and AJ are also racist ourselves, and therefore we have joined a racist system in order to do racist things to other people. The other thing I want to expound upon is that the thing that makes me so upset is, and I'm gonna go here because it's important, is when Black Lives Matter started. Everybody bought into Black Lives Matter because why? It sounded good. It sounded great. Black Lives Matter. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I've said this before in past podcasts, but I have to bring it up again. But everything that they have done throughout that organization is contrary to Black lives. They push more LGBT stuff than any other organization. I'm not saying this against the LGBT community, but if we're talking about Black lives, what does that have to do with LGBT? And I'm not, again, this is no knock on LGBT community. That's not a knock on that community. It's saying that if the Black Lives Matter, then why are we not so focused on Black lives? Second thing, if you do any research, and I'm probably going to lose a lot of my minority following, but you know what? I'm just got to speak facts. And this is coming from somebody who was on the other side of the fence that used to buy into everything that's out there right now. But again, I've seen and I've experienced things from a different perspective, which is why I bring it up. Billy in his head is like, oh my goodness, bro, we were doing so good last month on our podcast. All of our downloads are gone. When we talk about abortion, if you actually look up why abortion was created or when it was created, you'll actually see that abortion was created in a sense for population control amongst minorities. Do you know the most single-handedly what race contributes to the most abortions that make up our country? Black people. 70% of African Americans are likely to get an abortion than any other organization.
You said 70?
Yeah, give or take. Look it up. 70%. Crazy, give or take. Not only that, we talk about the single parents in the black community. Black families are more likely to be or grow up or have single parents in the household than any other organization. So why am I bringing this stuff up is because you have an organization that claimed to be about black lives, but yet they're not doing anything for black lives. The same president we have, a majority of black community voted this man because they sold them this stuff that said, hey, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do that for you. Do you know that? And these are facts. So this is not me saying I'm left or right. These are just facts. You can look this stuff up. Donald Trump donated, I don't know how much money a few years ago to historical black colleges, giving them billions of dollars to improve these colleges that exist today. Recently, our current president took almost all of that money away from those black colleges. Continuing, they're about to give almost $450,000 to immigrants in form of reparations for what the last presidential what do you call it? The last administration did. African Americans have not received a cent in reparations for everything that happened in slavery. And now this is not me saying that I think we need reparations or we don't, but all I'm saying is that if black lives truly mattered, then why are we so focused on other people that have actually come here illegally, but yet we haven't even put a cent in the pocket of people that have gone through some troubles. The last thing I'll bring up is this point. And again, this is stuff I've been reading and seeing. You guys can hit me up. Maybe my numbers may be skewed a little bit, but I'm telling you, it's roundabout. The last thing I bring up is we talk about the organization of Black Lives Matter. Do you know how many of the founders have actually gone out there and purchased $1 million homes recently? Do you know how much of the community that they suppose, or they are out there saying that we support, do you know how much money they've actually received from that? Zero. And you can actually talk to people who they have claimed to go out and help, and there have been more people that are upset that they use them as these poster boys of the movement, just so that way they can gain exposure, but yet they didn't do anything for them. Why do I bring all this stuff up? I bring it all up because getting back to law enforcement, it's the same type of narrative that they try to paint and brush law enforcement with, that law enforcement is so bad, it's so racist, it's so demonic, when it's not true. So we honestly have to wake up and say, no, this is not right. When are we going to put our foot down and say, no, this is not right? Like, let's wake up. Let's go out there. Like we always talk about, be the change we want to see. When you see Dave Chappelle and whoever else standing up, these people are waking up. When we talk about the vaccine, Ice Cube is just threw $9 million, or how much, I don't know how much, was it $9 million? Yeah, $9 million down the hole simply because he refused to get a vaccine. So I'm glad these people are standing up, but we all have to stand up. Going back to that quote that I just mentioned with from the Jews from the Holocaust, they said it didn't just happen overnight. They didn't just walk out one day and say, oh, we got to wear stars on our jackets now. This stuff was slowly happening because they were removing some of the rights that they had. And all of us were just like, oh, okay, it's not that big a deal. We're just waiting for things to go back to normal. Well, I hate to tell y'all, people, it's not going back to normal unless we start standing up and say, you know, no, this is wrong. You're not going to do this to me. It's okay for me to have rights. I understand I'm going to live amongst other racist people, but your reality is not my reality. So I'm not going to allow you to affect how I live my life. I'm gonna stop being a victim, and I'm gonna go out there and be successful because I don't choose to have that mentality. I'm gonna teach my kids to stand up. If somebody says something racist to them, just tell them to mind their business, go on and be successful. We need to stop victimizing ourselves. And I'm telling you guys this because this is the stuff I've been seeing throughout the years. And so some of you guys are going to say, oh, you know what, this dude is completely sold out to the right or blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't sell out or nothing. I just start seeing these things slowly as I start maturing as an adult and start realizing that this is the reality that we're living in, and it's not going to change unless we change it. Sorry. And Billy, sorry, bro. I know we probably just took our downloads from,
No, you're good.
20. Billy's like, there goes our podcast, y'all.
Billy, like you said what I was thinking. So no, you good. I got a doozy for you. You ready for this?
And am I off base with any of that stuff? Because tell me if I sound like I'm crazy and I sound like I got foil on my head right now.
Nah, you don't sound crazy to me, man. Billy?
Not at all. Not at all.
Billy's like, I don't know if I could agree with everything you said, but you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Have you heard of a neo pronoun?
No.
Billy?
No. I don't want to hear about it though.
It's tough. It's okay. So you know you
Z
have
and Zer?
Z, Zer, Pry, Vampire, Demon,
Yeah.
Princess,
Yeah, they got demon pronouns.
Fae, Kitten, Kitten Self, Vampire Self. I mean, these are all Bun Self. These are all pronouns.
Yeah, bunny pronouns. Yeah.
That people
We're in
would like to be
world, man.
identified as. So now it brings up an interesting discussion. Okay. So I receive a lot of, I talk to a lot of professors, college professors from like all over the country. And I would say probably 90% of the college professors put their pronouns in their signature. And it is what it is, right? He, him, her, they, whatever, right? Now this raises the question, and I have family that are in the education world as well. And this is where this stemmed from is if, say I had a sister, I don't have a sister, but say my sister's a teacher and one of her students goes, "Oh, I'm not a him, I'm a demon." Does she have to call him a demon?
Bruh.
That's, you know what I mean? Like where does this stop?
Where do we draw the line, bro?
And it's real. Like, this is a real thing. Like, this ain't something like some kid was just like, I'm gonna make a TikTok about. Like, this is real. Like, people, like, all these pronouns, like, I want to be a vampire or vamp or kitten face. Like,
well, and you take it a step further. To take it a step further is like, why are we so concerned about these things right now when there is more important things that we should be concerned about? Do you know how many people are not eating right now that are homeless? Do you know how many people are suffering from drug addiction right now? Do you know how many people are going through mental illness right now? Do you know that depression is one of the largest mental illnesses right now? Do you know how many people are killing themselves right now? Why are we so focused on all these other things that are kind of irrelevant as opposed to focusing on the person themselves? And this gets me fired up because, like, there are other countries right now, not saying they're better or worse, but there's other countries that are worried about trying to take over our country than we are worried about trying to protect our country.
Oh, like, yeah. Go ahead,
Billy.
Well, there's been some recent, I think it was like military commercials where it was like, this is not bashing that community, but our military commercial, like, I'm proud to have 2 moms, and like, and nothing about how about we just be good at war, Like, I mean, I don't think China's military commercials are worried about your moms.
And that's my point is like, look, why are we making what you choose to do in your own life is good. That's great. But why are we making why does everything have to be this big deal? I just don't understand it. Like, if you choose to, have a same-sex relationship, great. Like, that's cool. Like, I'm not knocking you, nor will I disrespect you. I will never disrespect you. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. If you choose to go do this, that's fine. But why are we making a big deal if somebody views differently? If I tell you, well, I don't agree with that, why is it a problem that I don't agree with it? Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean we got to be enemies. We can just have a different opinion on it. And that was what's so nice about our country is, like, going back to your conversation that you had, is that you can have a conversation with that girl about receiving the vaccine or not receiving the vaccine and not even think differently from each other. Just say, oh, okay, cool. We agree to disagree. Not that big a deal. But the moment now that you disagree with something, we want to counsel you. Because, oh, you know what? He doesn't see it the way it should be. I saw something this was crazy. I think I took a screenshot of it. It was on IG. And I went to follow this page. I went to follow an IG page because I was like, oh, I kind of like what they're saying. Kind of cool. But it's I would say it's a right type page. Very, very right. Conservative in a lot of ways. And bro, the warning that I got, oh, here it is, was crazy. This is what it said. Are you sure you want to follow this person, this group? And it was Unfiltered Patriot. This account has repeatedly posted false information that was reviewed by independent fact checkers or went against our community guidelines.
I've seen that too on TikTok.
Hold on. So that comes up on
before you follow.
Instagram?
So I press follow, and before I can say I want to follow this person, that comes up as like are you sure you want to follow this person? So my question is who are the independent fact checkers?
Wow.
Are these people, because what an independent fact checker should be somebody that has unbiased views on things. That's what independent fact checker should be, is like, I'm completely unbiased, completely neutral on things. I don't view one thing, but that's almost impossible to have because everybody's always going to have their view on something. So as opposed to letting people just say how they feel and just let it be, unless it ventures into a hate crime, because there's a difference. There is certain things that should be considered hate crimes. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So I'm not saying that people should just have free reign and say whatever the heck they want to say. There are hate crimes in place for a reason. But what my point is that who is the one that determines what's right and what's wrong? So if you view things completely right field or you view things completely left field, and I'm the one that gets to control who gets to come on the platform, then now how is that fair for the opposite group? And that's what I'm saying is like, it's so infuriating because if you view things any sort of way different than the person that controls whatever source that you're wanting to be on or whatever platform, then you now get blasted as being the demon.
What page was that again? I'm gonna try this.
It's Unfiltered Patriot. I just gave a plug for them. They about to get a whole bunch of followers now. Watch.
Unfiltered.
I don't know if it's gonna come up, but it did when I did it.
All right, let me see. Okay, let me follow them. I think they got like 300 friends.
I don't know. Let me see. And so if you guys are listening to this podcast, again, this is, I guess you can say this is the passion episode. Oh, they might be Unfiltered Patriot. They might even got.
Yeah, because this is.
Oh, no, it's here. They're shadow banned because they barely even come up. They got 12.9 thousand followers. This is what they look right here.
What's the exact name?
Unfiltered Patriot. All together on all one word.
Bro, that don't even.
Oh, you have to make it one word. I found it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it popped up for me. This account has repeatedly posted false information that was reviewed by fact checkers. Yep, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, it just came up for me too. So I'm interested.
So what stops them from doing that to us?
That's what I'm saying. I'm interested if, you were to hop on a, and I hate to keep plugging this guy, but like a Sean King, like a page like that, and you tried to follow him with that same thing.
I'll tell you right now because I'll tell you right now because I don't follow him.
I can never spell his name when I'm looking him up.
Sean
you guys have that problem?
King.
I feel like there's like 10 ways to spell Sean, or is that just a personal problem?
It's SHAUN.
So follow. Nope, didn't get it. Now I'm about to unfollow you again. Nope, didn't get it.
I thought he was private for a while.
He was. Things must have cooled down at his house because he didn't have any more showing up at his house. No, you don't get it. But I know for a fact Sean King don't post factual stuff.
So that's deep.
So that's what I'm saying, man. And that's why I'm so fired up by this crap. Because you got Colin Kaepernick that's out there making these documentaries, which Colin Kaepernick lived a great life, bro. Like he was, he lived a great life, bro.
Yes, he did.
So what?
Bro.
Because you grow your hair out now, you got an afro. Now all of a sudden you could be about the people. Like that's what I don't get, and that's what just makes me so angry. Like I'm not. You said on the last episode, AJ, I'm not gonna come out here and try to say that I'm somebody I'm not. I'm not going to come out here and say I lived a horrible life, a grimy life, I'm from the gutter. No. Have I had some bad things in my past? Yeah, but I don't need to go out there and grow my hair out all the way and say I'm about the people now and just because what you're doing is you're doing the exact same thing you're accusing everybody else of doing. And law enforcement, again, bringing this back to law enforcement, this is the same man that tried to demonize law enforcement and say that we have as much training as hairdressers do and painted this false narrative. When he took a knee, did I think that it caused us to reevaluate ourselves and assess ourselves as law enforcement? Yes. And I thought that was actually a good thing from the standpoint of we did need to look at law enforcement and say, how can we do things better? Because I think we got so used to doing things status quo that we didn't start realizing about, you know what, we could do some reform until the microscope was pointed at our direction. But for the reasons that he was trying to say, because we're out there targeting people, we're doing this, we're doing that. No, I can't say that. In the past, no doubt about it, in the past, there was a lot of corruption that happened in law enforcement. You can talk to guys, I'm sure you've heard from the own people in your department, AJ, they'll say, oh yeah, back in the day, this is how we used to do things. There were some corrupt ways that they used to do things back in the past. No doubt about it. And for that, we are receiving the consequences of our sins that our ancestors did that went before. So I get that side of it. But to say that it's the same, to say that we haven't progressed, and to say that we're out there hunting black people down or other minorities down, it's false. And so you're doing the same thing now on to the NFL because they didn't want to pick you up on a team.
I wonder if current players would even agree with him. Like, has he gotten any backlash from that? Like, I'm sure
it's probably split.
But the players should be proud of where they're at. It doesn't matter what color, but like, you made it to the top of your sport.
There's a thing there's a book that's called $1 Million Slave, and I'm gonna tell you I haven't read it or the whole thing, but I do know kind of some of the contents of it. But the whole premise was that the system of NFL and stuff like that is almost like slavery, kind of like what Kaepernick was talking about. Are there areas for improvement for minorities in the realm of ownership within professional sports? Absolutely. And I think when you talk about systematic stuff, I think through generations, some of the white owners actually received things just because they were in a position that allowed them to get to a position, a power where financially they were good. But I can't say that's true for everybody, because I do know that there's owners. I think the owner of the Patriots, no, the owner of Jay-Z, but the owner of is either the Cowboys, I think it was Jerry Jones, or the Patriots, one of them, started from nothing. I actually saw his house.
I want to say it was Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Jerry Jones started from nothing. So to even say that they were actually handed to him, that's not necessarily true either. So I do think we can make progression, but
even so, like if Billy works his butt off, and like he has been, right, and his photography and producing game and crypto, like everything just blows up and he becomes a billionaire. Say it takes him 20 years from now. Who's to tell him that he can't give his son an NFL team?
Exactly.
Like if his son wants an NFL team, like who's to say like he can't be like, yeah, I got 20 billion in the bank account. Yeah, I'll buy 2. If my son wants an NFL team, I'll buy him the whole NFL league. Like like that is the mindset like I'm talking about. Like if anything, like that should make you want to work harder. Like I surround myself by a lot of people, and every single person that I surround myself with motivates me in some sort of shape or fashion, right? Like I have friends who are millionaires. They financially motivate me. I have friends who are very deep rooted in their spiritual life. They spiritually motivate me. Both of these groups of people are a lot better than I am in those aspects of life, but I surround myself by them because that motivates me. I don't see them as a threat. I don't see them as having one leg up, or, they were given whatever they were given. Like I see that as motivation, and I want to hang around these people because I want to become part of that. But we've grown so far away from that mindset to where now if somebody has something, it's a negative. Like, oh, you have money because X, Y, and Z, or oh, he changed because he's so deep in his spiritual life, or oh, he's so social, he's fake, or oh, he moved in this neighborhood, he's bougie. Like, let that motivate you. Like, why is this the norm now?
Exactly.
Why?
No, I know, man. I got so fired up, and this fires me up. But here's the positive out of it all. Like AJ just said, to continue on him before we wrap this podcast up, this should motivate us. Like I am not going to teach my kids and raise them to have that victim mentality. Is it gonna suck when you get passed over? Yes. Is it gonna suck when somebody calls you the N-word? Yes. But do you succumb and be a victim? Or do you say, you know what? No, I know I'm more valuable than that. Not only because Christ, my Savior, tells me I'm more valuable than that, but my dad raised me to be more valuable than that. And so we need to get out of this victim mentality. And it's not just minorities, it's all of us as human beings need to get out of this victim mentality. It's us as officers. We need to get out of this victim mentality and stop this woe is me mentality and start saying, no, I'm going to continue to show up and do my job and do it to the best of my ability, despite if that guy thinks I'm racist, despite if I pull those people over and they call me the blue-eyed devil, despite it, you know, like these are all these things that we got to get out of this mindset. Because if we stay there, if we just stay in this place where it's like, oh my goodness, it sucks to be me, no, then we're going to continue to move on and we're only going to get worse. So we have to draw a line in the sand. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. We know it's going to be tough, but we need to stop with the victim mentality. We need to stop allowing ourselves to be brainwashed by people just because they have a title and stature and they can go out there and get a Netflix series and say, no, the whole system is racist. No, let's wake up. Let's wake up and realize that these people out there are trying to brainwash our kids, trying to brainwash our families, so that way they can continue to pad their pocketbooks and disseminate a false message. I'm telling you right now, if the message is not bringing people together, it's a message we probably don't need to be listening to. And don't get me wrong, there can be different ideas in a unified message. Me and AJ can have a similar conversation, or we can have a conversation where we may have different thoughts and opinions on it, but it can still be unifying. It can still bring us together to understand or try to understand the other side without being divided. If you are finding yourself watching something that is completely divisive and trying to get you to demonize another group of people, it's something you shouldn't probably be watching. But if you can watch it and say, you know, okay, that gives me different perspective, I don't now hate another group, I just understand some things a little bit differently, then maybe you can continue to watch that. And that's the type of mentality that we need to have with anything we pick up and read, anything we watch, or any conversations we're engaged in on a day-to-day basis, because that's what's going to push the pendulum forward. That's what's going to allow us to move forward as a country, not being lulled to sleep by these people that want to continue these hateful speeches and hateful messages. I'm done.
We've come to idolize money so much that we forget who we truly are. And the same thing, you know, we talk about Kaepernick. Like, I truly believe that he is willing to say and do whatever he has to in order to put himself in a position to financially prosper. And, you know, and we know the story, right? Like, he was not out here killing it in the NFL. When did he start getting attention? When he started doing this stuff. So he's like, okay, I see a payday. And the same thing with like all the social media stuff. Like, we're constantly like fed and the politics. Like, we have become so infatuated with money and power and like political pool, which they're all pretty much the same thing in the United States, at least, that we throw away our morals and who we truly are. And that's a scary, you know, money is mentioned. I said this, I think 2 podcasts ago, like, money is the second most mentioned thing in the Bible for a reason. And this is why, like, that's scary. And this is just a real quick mention of, did you watch the Facebook thing where he's like changing the name and
Meta
announced? Did you hear the breakdown of what that's going to be?
Like an online universe, right?
So the metaverse is going to be Facebook, Instagram, the Oculus, and whatever else is to come. So like Ray-Ban came out with some glasses that have a camera on them as well, and it's essentially going to be the predecessor of the internet. Like we have the internet, it changed how we do everything, right? The metaverse is taking that to the next level. So like, instead of like us doing the podcast how we do, like, I would be able to virtually sit in a chair beside Ryan and we would record it that way. Like, I would be at hologram. But the scary part about that is what is this artificial world going to look like, seeing as the very small one that we already have is extremely tainted?
Man, that's crazy. There's a movie I just got done watching with my kids. It's a cartoon movie. It just came out. I can't even remember what it's called, but anyways, it's in theaters right now. But watch that movie. It actually what AJ's talking about right now is really, even though it's a kid movie, it talks about everybody has these bots, these little robots, and they're synced up to you. And so like you buy a robot, you put your hand on it, it automatically syncs up to your whole life. So all your social media stuff, they follow you everywhere you go. You do live as you're walking there, it's following you next to you. You can do a live, it's recording for you. It automatically links up with another, like Billy's robot, and tells you if you're an automatic match with one another. And so long story short, the main character, he doesn't have enough money. His parents don't have enough money to afford it, and he's very, very traditional. They get him like regular things to play with for his birthday. So he gets made fun of because he doesn't have a robot. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. And so he's like, I want a robot. I want a robot. So finally, his dad is like, he sees his son is getting picked on. So he's like, I'm gonna go get him a robot. So he doesn't have really enough money to go to the store to get a robot, but he goes there anyway. They close. Long story short, he buys a damaged robot, but this damaged robot can't sync with his son. So the robot and the kid are forced to learn to each other and have a good, like an authentic relationship with one another. Like he has to learn what this kid likes to do. The kid has to learn about the robot, and the kid hates it at first because it's not cool. Like the robot can't do all the other cool things that the other robots can do. He's like just normal. And so long story short, the owner, the creator of the robot, that's how he designed it, is so that way he actually wanted it to learn and study each other, so that way, and the co-owner wanted the co-owner of the robot company wanted it to do what these robots were doing, which is just convince these kids to buy all this other stuff, get to know them really well, so that way they make purchases and all this other, for all the wrong reasons. Long story short, the kid at the end of the movie helps everybody remember what it's like to be normal again, how to have fun absent of all this technology and stuff. And that's kind of the world we live in, and what we need to get back to is deep. How do we converse with one another minus social media? How do we converse with one another without needing other people to help us sync up and link up with one another? How do we be able to learn to differentiate with one another without being all hostile, and learn that we can coexist? So that's what we need to get to, guys. I know this podcast was probably not one of our traditional topics because it was fueled. I mean, there's been so much going on that I've been seeing. I've been called a coon again recently by somebody. I was told today, actually, I screenshot it because it was actually pretty funny. I think.
Comment or DM?
It was a comment. It was a comment, and then somebody else, in regards to my last post last week about marriage, how do you take a marriage post and make it?
That was my Finsta.
How do you take a marriage post and make a marriage post like all bad? This guy was like, it's pretty funny though. He was like, unfollowing because you're misleading. Divorce rate is that high or higher under any profession. Talk about domestic violence rates in police households. Police beat their wives like they beat innocent, unarmed people of color. You just lick in your own boots. Man up and criticize the status government you defend is cowardly. First of all, thank you for unfollowing me because somebody already picked up your vacant seat following. So thank you for that. And the second thing is, what baffles me is this is coming from a white guy. So you're defending people of color when some of these people of color don't even want. You're defending me, which like why? Like that makes no sense. Like he says, like they be innocent unarmed people of color. Bro, how do you know that? How do you know we be innocent unarmed
color or POC?
POC.
Somebody put that on one of my comments. I was like, what POC? Like
people of color. But my point is like, bro, why are you even trying to defend me when I don't need defending?
And it was a white woman who did that.
Why are you trying to defend me? I don't even need defending.
Yeah, you froze. I'm gonna start defending Billy. I ain't froze. You froze.
Yeah, whatever. So, anyways, y'all, I'm sorry. Again, I'm going off on tangent. I can keep this going on. Y'all can see I'm fired up right now. Maybe it's the energy drink that I had earlier on today, or just maybe it's my passion. But I'm fired up. But anyways, buy crypto because we all gonna go to the moon, and when crypto blows up, we'll all be living in the metaverse in our balling mansions.
I'm hoping
you know
the
what I'm saying?
metaverse is like built on Ethereum or something.
Hey, but the metaverse is gonna be built on crypto.
And you can hang up NFTs in your virtual
It's all
home.
DeFi. Hey, it's all DeFi. Ain't the metaverse built on DeFi?
I have no clue.
Somebody was saying that it's built on DeFi. So, anyways, y'all got anything else before we close it out today? Thanks for sticking around. Thank you guys for making our downloads go through the roof. We've had some phenomenal downloads the last few months. We want to be the best podcast out there. So if you do like us, please make sure you guys share this podcast with your friends. Make sure you guys give us a 5-star rating, 5-star review. Leave the reviews. We read them. We definitely read them. Some of you guys drop into our DMs and hit us up about how we've helped you. You changed your life, whatever it may be. Thank you. And I want to end with this is, even though we shared a lot of opinions today, I want y'all to hear that clearly. These were opinions that I was sharing, AJ was sharing, Billy was sharing. That's exactly what they are, and that's exactly what they will be, opinions. Whether you agree with us or you don't agree with us, it's okay. I wouldn't, if we were here in person and you disagreed with me in person, I'm not going to trip. We can still be cool. We can still go out and have a good time. That's what life is about. That's why we're human beings, is because we have the abilities to think for ourselves and we have the abilities to differentiate with one another. That's what we need to get back to. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you if you stuck around this long to listen to us. Any closing thoughts or words, AJ, before we bounce?
Be better.
There it is. Be better. Billy.
Be better than Billy's Crocs.
Hey, Crocs are amazing, man.
Be better and buy crypto. There it is. Be better and buy crypto. I don't have a one ass to go this week, so if y'all got one, send it to us. But we love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.